how human extinction would change the Earth.
If our species disappeared tomorrow, what would actually happen, and what kind of planet would we be leaving behind? We are living through the dawn of a new epoch in the Earth's history, the Anthropocene. Humans have always shaped aspects of their environment, from fire to farming. But the influence of Homo sapiens on Earth has reached such a level that it now defines current geological time. From air pollution in the upper atmosphere to fragments of plastic at the bottom of the ocean, it's nearly impossible to find a place on our planet that humankind has not touched in some way. But there's a dark cloud on the horizon. Human extinction, many experts believe, is not a matter of if, but when. And some think it will come sooner rather than later. In 2010, eminent Australian virologist Frank Fenner claimed that humans will probably be extinct in the next century thanks to overpopulation, environmental destruction, and climate change. Professor Frank Fenner, in front of a projected photograph of himself taken in the 1950s. Copyright Getty. Professor Frank Fenner in front of a projected photograph of himself taken in the 1950s. Of course, the Earth can and will survive just fine without us. Life will persist, and the marks we've left on the planet will fade faster than you might think. Our cities will crumble, our fields will overgrow, and our bridges will fall. Nature will break down everything eventually, says Alan Weisman, author of the 2007 book The World Without Us, which examines what would happen if humans vanished from the planet. If it can't break stuff down, it eventually buries it. Before too long, all that will remain of humanity will be a thin layer of plastic, radioactive isotopes, and chicken bones. We kill 60 billion chickens per year, in the fossil record. For evidence of this, we can look to areas of the planet that we've been forced to vacate. In the 19-mile exclusion zone surrounding the Chernobyl power plant in Ukraine, which was severely contaminated following the 1986 reactor meltdown, plants and animals are thriving in ways they never did before. A 2015 study funded by the Natural Environment Research Council found abundant wildlife populations in the zone, suggesting that humans are far more of a threat to the local flora and fauna than 30 years of chronic radiation exposure. The speed at which nature reclaims a landscape depends a lot on the climate of an area. In the deserts of the Middle East, ruins from thousands of years ago are still visible, but the same can't be said of cities only a few hundred years old in tropical forests. In 1542, when Europeans first saw the rainforests of Brazil, they reported cities, roads, and fields along the banks of major rivers. After the population was decimated by diseases that the explorers brought with them, however, these cities were quickly reclaimed by the jungle. The ruins of Las Vegas are certain to persist far longer than those of Mumbai.
Only now do deforestation and remote sensing techniques offer us a glimpse of what came before. Plant and animal species that have formed close bonds with humanity are the most likely to suffer if we disappear. The crops that feed the world, reliant as they are on regular applications of pesticides and fertilizers, would swiftly be replaced by their wild forebears. They're going to get out-competed, fast, says Weissman. Carrots will turn back into Queen Anne's lace, corn may go back into Tosindi, the original ear of corn that wasn't much bigger than a sprig of wheat. The sudden disappearance of pesticides will also mean a population explosion for bugs. Insects are mobile, reproduce quickly and live in almost any environment, making them a highly successful class of species, even when humans are actively trying to suppress them. They can mutate and adapt faster than anything else on the planet except for maybe microbes, explains Weissman. Anything that looks delicious is going to get devoured. The bug explosion will in turn fuel a population increase in bug-eating species, like birds, rodents, reptiles, bats, and arachnids, and then a boom in the species that eat those animals, and so on all the way up the food chain. But what goes up must come down. Those huge populations will be unsustainable in the long term once the food that humans left behind has been consumed. The reverberations throughout the food web caused by the disappearance of humankind may still be visible as much as 100 years into the future before things settle down into a new normal. Some wilder breeds of cows or sheep could survive, but most have been bred into slow and docile eating machines that will die off in huge numbers. I think they will be very quick pickings for these feral carnivores or wild carnivores that are going to start proliferating, says Weissman. Those carnivores will include human pets, more likely cats than dogs. I think that wolves are going to be very successful and they're going to outcompete the hell out of dogs, Weissman says. Cats are a very successful non-native species all over the world. Everywhere they go they thrive. The question of whether intelligent life could evolve again is harder to answer. One theory holds that intelligence evolved because it helped our early ancestors survive environmental shocks. Another is that intelligence helps individuals to survive and reproduce in large social groups.